My dream is actually to go to Africa and to work on various projects, but I'm going to start with this one project initially, which is just so ready to go. And basically, it's a project that's going to solve two problems at once. It's going to solve the problem of pollution, and it's going to give people income. And obviously in Africa, the two problems are interrelated. Right now, millions and millions of liters of oil, every bit of engine oil that goes into any car, truck, bus, heavy earth-moving equipment ends up on the ground or ends up in the waterway creating pollution. It's an inevitable disaster. And with development, with more cars, with more trucks, with more mining, with more everything, this pollution problem is going to get worse. But I have a simple idea that we'll be able to take this engine oil and to make it into a saleable commodity. So it will basically turn pollution into money. We've been designing this machine and working on various prototypes for a year and a half. What's great about the partnership of Mike and I is that I'm a cultural anthropologist by training. I spent 8 years in Africa. I've spent 20 years living in developing countries. Mike is the ideal partner because he's like the classic American innovative motorhead. When he was 18 years old, he built his own helicopter. He built his own hang glider. He used to build hot rod cars. He decided to make his own reverse osmosis factory. So rather than buying $200,000 machines, he discovered he could make the machines himself for $50,000. So every machine in Mike's factory is pretty much something Mike made himself. So he has that ability to sit and solve a problem no matter how long it takes. So this is basically what we start out with, right? Your basic standard black, crappy, dirty engine oil, right? Stuff that comes out of every car, every truck. We could use engine oil, we could use transmission oil, and we have to clean the oil up first before we can actually distill it. And what we do to do that is we put it in a centrifuge, which basically spins out the heavy particles and leaves the good light particles, which we then collect in a tank, which we then distill. Now, there's many ways you can solve this technical problem. This was our original design, which was a bit expensive and a bit slow, actually. So we've come up with these, which is our newer design, which is actually what they use in trucks. And this will basically clean up about 190 gallons per hour. So we'll put this inside an oil drum with a pump. The oil will get pumped through this cylinder again and again and again, 4, 5, 6 times until we're convinced it's pretty clean, until we're getting no more gunk out of it. And at that point, we'll begin the distillation process.
Basically, these controls operate the pumps and operate the heating coils and circulate the pumps for the hot oil, and it controls the temperature. When the temperature gets to a certain operating temperature, the oil will distill into a vapor, and once it goes up into a vapor and recondenses, then it turns into a purified system, either oil or diesel, depending on how we distill it, the temperature we use.
Making diesel is actually easier than distilling whiskey. The distillation process is far more simple. We take dirty waste oil, we heat it up to a certain temperature, we shoot it into an evaporation chamber, it evaporates, and then we condense it. It's only one distillation act.
Okay, this distillation system is really simple and easy to operate. It's compact and can be very mobilized, so it can be used everywhere. It's easy to operate. One operator can operate it by himself. It doesn't take any technicians or anything.
What's great about this system, and what Mike and I discussed a lot in the early days, was how to make a totally simple system. All these pumps here are readily available. The only thing that's unique about them is they can take high temperatures. You see here, this is just a regular car radiator that you can buy at any scrap yard or junk. It doesn't have to be new. Any functioning car radiator. Mike's real act of genius was to create two innovations. One, he created a situation in which we're using 100% vacuum, which is not only safer, but reduces the amount of temperature you need for the oil to evaporate. Secondly, we're actually going to take this heated oil and we're going to inject it into the condensation chamber at 500 to 1000 psi through a steel paint sprayer, which means it's going to come out as a super high blast mist. Because of the temperature and because of the increased surface area we're going to create, most of this should evaporate instantly. Push comes to shove, we can put this whole thing in the back of a pickup and we can move all over the country finding garbage sources and processing them into usable oil. Its mobility is going to be a huge factor in saving costs and making this thing practical. This black stuff is either contaminant, dirtying the soil or dirtying the water, or it's diesel. It all depends on that machine right there.